collective bargaining agreement in the future, I hope.
All right, but here's the question I'm going to have. When you are a player with the Red Sox, with the Yankees, with the Reds, with the Cardinals, with the Cubs, they have a vested interest in making it so that you are better long-term for the club. But if you're going to be starting playing with a team which doesn't have that commitment to your future the same way that a Major League Baseball club has a commitment to your long-term future, are you going to be developed in the same way, or are they going to need this kid to go out and start earning his millions of dollars today? And at the end of this 6 years, they're just going to walk away from somebody who doesn't have a baseball future left.
There is a question about that. I mean, with him making whatever it is, like $1.13 million, that's like 3 times the average salary in the Japanese league. And so there is a little bit of a worry that Japan might throw him to the wolves right away at 18. They have a history, though, of actually training people quite well to be prepared to play baseball. Their system doesn't include does not include a minor league, but they'll sign people like they signed Shohei Ohtani out of high school and allowed him, to play some games and build up over time at the big league level. I don't think that we can say that they don't know what they're doing, and they do have a vested interest in this, because the best case scenario for the SoftBank Hawks isn't really that he plays out his career there, but that he plays out well enough that the Major League Baseball wants him back, and then they can get a posting fee, of $10 million to send them back to the they could be the minor leagues with a financial incentive that if they do a good job training him, they get paid 10, 12, $15 million for that job that they did.
I think it's gonna, but isn't it? It's gonna start feeling more like, well, Japanese baseball, maybe not Major League Baseball, but Japanese baseball is going to feel more like MLS soccer, where you lose players to national teams because they're not the biggest game in town. And I know that minor league teams feel that way. Minor league teams, you're not a success because you win at the minor league level. You're a success because you develop players at the minor league level. And is Japan's baseball willing to do that? Or is Japan's baseball... I agree with you that I think Japan does a great job of developing players, but are they going to have the same feeling about a player who's not Japanese?
I mean, they right, a couple of things there. One, I really like the analogy of the MLS to like the Premier League. It's a place that they lend out players and let them develop a little bit more. You do get, as a player in the MLS, you get the rush of victory that's unlike the minor leagues in baseball. I think that when you go to Tokyo and you play in Tokyo or you play wherever in Japan, winning those games are pretty good, and the country is embraced historically players from other countries. Like, when they started the Japan Baseball Hall of Fame, like, one of the first guys in the Hall of Fame was actually a Russian pitcher that they had that played in the 20s or 30s with them. They've always had this sort of like international.
Yeah, but concept. They still haven't put Tom Selleck in.
Yeah, which is a travesty.
Nice.
Mr. Baseball, for God's sake.
Go to the R Line petition. Tom Selleck should be in the Hall of Fame. But they also have a nationality rule. They don't allow a team to have more than 4 foreign-born players. So they do have a rule that makes the teams, functionally Japanese. And so this thing couldn't happen on a widespread level. They couldn't steal 400 guys from thing. They could steal like 3 dozen. But if they get the right 3 dozen, it could make a big difference.
Well, and I don't think that there's a problem with them having 3 dozen or even 300 players. I don't think that's the issue. The question really is, what does this mean going forward
for baseball here? Well, for baseball here, it's like it kind of points out that there's something broken in the system. I mean, we saw Kyler Murray choose football over baseball because there was so much more of him because he's a quarterback. But this is a fairly, I wouldn't say, I mean, this is not a top level prospect. This is a guy that will be lucky this year if this wasn't on his plate to go like with the 22nd or 25th pick. He's probably He's probably a low second-round pick, and if he's thinking this, if somebody else comes along in the future that is a real stud player, and I was looking at the three guys this year. There's three guys that could hold MLB hostage that are in the draft with Vaughn and the catcher. I can't remember his name. Hupschman, something. Not Hupschman. That's a friend of mine. It's something along those. Taubman. Forget it. I'll never get him. I was thinking, what if one of those three guys? Those three guys did the same thing. I don't think it'd have the same effect because as a non-pitcher, as a player, your minor league tenure is if you're good is normally shorter. You'll probably see the big leagues in 3 or 4 years, as opposed to as a pitcher it could be 5-6 years to develop along those lines. But if you went back, if there was a player that came along, the likes of Steven Strasburg a few years back, and Steven Strasburg with Scott Boras as his agent, he did actually try to play Japan against the Nationals to get a better contract. And Scott Boras is the other guy, is Carter Stewart's agent too. If that player comes along, it could break it could make them really have to evaluate the way we're doing it. Right now, you have...
Then, well, hold on. You've already said the magic word to make me be 100% against it.
What's that?
Scott Boras. Scott Boras does not care about the future of baseball. He does not care about what's in the best interest of baseball, period. And I'm not convinced he's concerned about the best interest of any particular player beyond how much money they will make.
I mean, it's very easy to say lawyers are evil and agents are evil and stuff, but for the most part, I don't believe for a second that any...
No, it's not easy. It is a requirement to say that about Scott Boras. I'm going to double-check the laws, but I'm almost sure you have to.
I've never encountered... Go ahead.
These kids got to get their money where they can. I mean, I'm an A's fan. The Kyler Murray thing hurt. Yeah, we spent, but he's got making way more money in the NFL. He was the number 1 overall pick, and same here. Carter Stewart, you're saying he's probably a second-round pick if he goes back in the draft this year. I mean, get your money where you can. I got to say, Scott Boras is guiding that kid in the right direction. He's going to have that $7 million no matter what. And then he's going to be a free agent. If he kills it over there, he's going to get big-time money to come back. If he doesn't, he might have stuck in the minor leagues his whole career and made $3 million in his career. So I think he's take the money where you can get it if you're one of these kids.
And even if he's just pretty good, he could get somewhere between the kind of money that Merrill Kelly got, which would be about $6-7 million a year when he comes back, or the kind of money that Miles Mikolas got. Those are two guys that recently came over from Asia to play the thing. I don't think... I mean, I understand that Scott Boras may not have the best interest of baseball at heart, but I don't believe for a second that he doesn't have the best interest of his clients at heart. And there are times when the best interest of the client is not in the best interest of baseball and is not in the best interest of what you want as a fan. But I think that he's got Carter Stewart on his mind, along with the money, of course. So the question is...
Again, the question... I apologize, Stevie. Go on.
No, you go. It was me. I like it when you guys talk. I had the cough.
Oh, well, I was going to say that the real question is making more money now better for this player? And you might be right. He may be better off getting more money now. You go into the minor leagues, there's no guarantee that money's ever going to turn into anything. I mean, there's no guarantees. You could wear out your arm. You could pull a hamstring. You could, you do any number of things which keep you from advancing up the line. But you get to be playing against competition, which is something that you're better than when you get started, which helps you build the confidence to be able to move on and play at a higher level. Some of these players already have the confidence to be able to play at a high level, but some of them don't. And you can really, I think, get discouraged if the competition is too hard for you to catch up and nobody's going to have the patience for you to figure it out over the course of 2 seasons.
Well, the U.S. minor league system, that Major League does have a thing, because basically if you're a guy that gets a signing bonus, they basically want you to succeed, and they're going to work with you as best they can. One of the things that this calls the question is that if before this, if someone had said to you that $1 million a year over 6 years would be more money than what a typical minor leaguer makes, who's actually a prospect, I would have said that's pretty crazy. But it's amazing how little they pay minor leaguers. It's like if Carter Stewart were just taking that $1.6 million bonus, that would have got him through the minor leagues, and he would have went to a rookie league and made $5,500 on the year. He would have went to high A ball and made like $13,000. Like the whole sum of all the minor leagues, comes out to like $130,000 over 5 years. That's crazy small. Now it's fine for guys that got bonuses because they can live off their bonus till they make it to the majors. But everyone else is there's a reason why Major League Baseball had to go get a exemption from overtime rules, because the typical guy, if you're a walk on, or especially if you're a signee, a low level signee from Guatemala or whatever, you're probably at the stadium for 11 hours a day, making your $8,000 a year, and if you worked it out hourly, like you're getting paid about $2 an hour. You'd be better off cleaning rooms at the Holiday Inn.
Hey, maybe I could recruit some of these guys to pick strawberries for me.
I will say this, I just want to remind everyone, they are literally making money playing a game. They really are. And I understand that it's a draw on the major league level, and I understand that those major league teams make millions of dollars, and in some cases billions of dollars, and as a result, the players deserve to get a bigger piece of it, and I'm fine with what players make today, but single A baseball is not $1 million a year operation.
No, it isn't, but the thing in my mind is, like, why couldn't you pay them, let's say, half of what a teacher makes? Like something where they could actually sort of live on. Like, what if everybody in the minors made $24,000 a year? It's a $10 billion industry, and it really wouldn't do much to the bottom line. It's an
internship. It's a paid internship. You're learning to play a game that you might be able to play professionally. And you should have to choose whether or not you're going to do that or make a living. You should, because it's a game, and you're not so great at it that you're worth millions of dollars.
I mean, they have the guys. The other guys have to have somebody to play. That's the only other side of it. It's like you need to have the filler on every team.
So what you're saying to me is that single A baseball is the Washington Generals of baseball.
Well, no, actually, like big parts of the AAA teams are. It's like if you look at, like, most of the star products go like from AA right up, and if you look at like AAA, you'll see a lot of like 31-year-old players, 33-year-old players, and they really are these guys. Like, somebody's call them Quad A or whatever, but they're basically they're just filler. They're the Washington Generals. There is that, because you need, if you're sending Jose Altuve down for a rehab start, it wouldn't be much of a game if the other guys only had their 6 guys that they had signed to a bonus on the team.
Doug, you are much more tuned into minor league baseball than I am, but I have never once read a story about there being not enough people willing to play AAA baseball. I've never once read a story that say the pay is too low, I'm never going to do it, and we can't fill the spots.
I mean, there's a lot of jobs where the pay is low, but they have a right to say they should make more. But that's enough. We covered this before. I do want to get on the second story, because I haven't heard this talked about anywhere, and this is actually, considering the nature of modern fantasy, this really has a big potential for real ramifications. Illinois, the state of Illinois, is trying to pass a gambling bill to raise $200 million, and the idea is that they're going to allow 20 gambling licenses in their state, and they were going to cost $10 million a piece. And they're going to build a casino in Chicago as one of them. There's a few other places, but some of that is for online gambling, and DraftKings and FanDuel want to get those things. And right now, they have almost all of the like 93% of the DFS market, and in Illinois they have 80% of the gambling market.